After an eventful weekend in Columbus, the Carolina Hurricanes are once again at a crossroads, but there is some help coming back for them at the right time.
Your Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a Monday edition of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you to the Everydayer for making this your first listen of the day. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, talking everything about your Carolina Hurricanes. I'm your host, Zach Martin. I'm the Carolina Hurricanes credentialed beat writer over at the Hawkeyes. I do a column on the Chicago Wolves called Wolves Weekly. I'm also part of the show of the Surge Cast, and along with all my duties here at Locked On Hurricanes. Got an interesting show for you guys on Monday as we get the news of what happened to Pyotr Kochetkov on Saturday night. Plus, there's actually been an update of someone coming back from IR as of Sunday afternoon, and we're also going to preview the stars at the Carolina Hurricanes game on Monday night for Hockey Talks. But before we jump into all of that, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Now, like I said, the news we're going to touch on first is Pyotr Kochetkov and what happened on Saturday night during the game against the Columbus Blue Jackets. And unfortunately, back and forth and fair, was one of those games where you can tell already it was going to be a wild night. Teams are just trading goals left and right. Hurricanes came back from multiple one-goal deficits, kept tying it, got the lead. Unfortunately, Columbus ties it with under a minute left in the game, goes to overtime, and then eventually the Hurricanes lose in a shootout. Do get the point. We kind of wish they took both of them. But the main storyline from the game was Pyotr Kochetkov, how he left the game on Saturday night during overtime. In an unfortunate incident that happened where Zach Werenski was, crashing the net, trying to crash onto the net, had Sean Walker on his right side. Both guys looks like they were trying to get position to the net. It looks like they were starting to go wide and go around the net. Pyotr Kochetkov on the right post looked like he was trying to, put his stick out to poke the puck away from Zach Werenski, and unfortunately, being out of position too far out, was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, was in the path of Sean Walker, who unfortunately nothing he can do, runs into Pyotr Kochetkov, basically hits him with a collision head, with his head. Sean Walker used his body basically, and unfortunately used his force and went right through Pyotr Kochetkov where his head was sticking out a little bit too far. And, Kochetkov goes down behind the net, stays down for a while until Doug Bennett, the trainer, gets out there. I know a lot of people were wondering why it took Doug Bennett so long to get out to Pyotr. And it's, because you have to think about it too. The benches are pretty far and he's not on skates. So he's trying to get there as fast as he can, because it's not something you can just get on there and just get there in like 5 seconds. So just give some credit to Doug Bennett for getting there as fast as he could and trying to get to Pyotr. It's just one of those things where it's overtime, you're far away. It is what it is. He was down for a while until Doug Bennett got over there to look at him. It looks like he was trying to shake him to see, if he was awake or to see what's going on. Eventually, he did wake up, did get up on his own skates, and was, skating off towards the bench. But you could definitely tell that he was dazed, really confused as well. There has been, some videos going around of him behind the net, and it was clear he was definitely knocked out in the process. So it's not confirmed. There's been no updates yet, because even after the game, Rod Brindamore said that they're not certain what's going on with Pyotr. They're already down a goalie in Frederick Anderson. Now you lost Pyotr early on, during the game on Saturday. Now you don't know where you're at. But as of right now, there is no update on him. But most likely, if one had to guess, it's probably going to be concussion protocol for sure, because he did get knocked out from what it seems like. He did get off the ice, but he had Doug Bennett and Brent Burns help him off the ice. And then Spencer Martin comes in, finishes the game, but Martin does get the credit for the loss since it was a tied game and the game went into a shootout. from what I heard, he is the first goalie to have a couple saves, go to a shootout, only let one in, and still get credited with the loss because technically it was tied when he was in the game. But it's sad how Piotr's officially out. Obviously wishing him giving all the well wishes. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, and hopefully he's back soon. But as of right now, where there's no really updates on what's going on with him, it's just an unfortunate circumstance to where now he could be out for a while because last year, he got friendly fired on by Dmitry Orlov in a game as well, and he ended up missing 8 games due to a concussion. As hard of a hit he took from Sean Walker as him and Werenski were trying to go around the net, I would not be surprised if this one's just as long or possibly longer because that did not look like a good hit. It's just unfortunate how the play happened. It's just trying to help a teammate out being a little aggressive, and unfortunately just got caught in the wrong spot, and nothing Sean Walker could do. I mean, you're trying to play your position. You're playing the body of trying to get Zach Werenski to go wide instead of going towards the net. Nothing you really do when you're on skates and you're battling a guy. Then all of a sudden you see your goalie sticking pretty far out to where he's in your path, and you really just can't slow down. So I mean, you can't really blame Sean Walker for this too. It's just a freak accident, something that you don't really see happen a whole lot, but unfortunately. Piotr's down. Like I said, all we can do is just give him well wishes, and hopefully everything's better for him. But as of right now, you're in the tough situation if you're the Hurricanes because now he's out. Fredrik Andersen is still out for 8 to 12 weeks, and that's after getting his knee surgery. And that was just a week ago, so he's still a long way out for being ready. Like I said, we still have an update on Pyotr Kochetkov. That could be who knows how long until we get an update on that. And then depends on how long he's out for. So now, if you're the Hurricanes, you're down both of your number ones, your 1A and your 1B. They're both out for who knows how long. You got Spencer Martin, who did get a shot against the Ottawa Senators, but he's also not someone you would thought of starting the season to be your because on the depth chart he's like your third netminder. So if you're in the Hurricanes, you're in the right now because if Piotr's out for like 1 to 2 weeks or even longer, do you just ride Martin and see what happens from there? But on Sunday afternoon there was the announcement that Yanniv Peretz was recalled from the Chicago Wolves. So once again, it's going to be Martin and Peretz being the goalies for the Hurricanes. And this is going to be a tough week for the Hurricanes overall, especially for the fact that where they're at in terms of their goaltending situation. Because you got Dallas Monday night for hockey talks. Then you got Wednesday against the New York Rangers, who are in a really tight battle with the Hurricanes and the Devils, the Capitals for the top 4 spots in the Metro. Then you get Thanksgiving Day off, but then Black Friday, you have a 3 p.m. start against the Florida Panthers at home. And then you have to go to Florida to play them the next night, or I should say next afternoon, at 4 o'clock on Saturday. In Sunrise. So you have 4 games in 6 days with a home-and-home back-to-back against the defending Stanley Cup champions. And now you're down both of your starting goalies. I don't know what the idea that Eric Tulsky and the Hurricanes are going to do. I've said it before, they're not a knee-jerk reaction team, but this is a tough spot to be in because now where do you go from here? Do you just ride Martin and Peretz and try to weather the storm? And I know there's a lot of games left in the season. We're like 20 games in. You still got 62 to go. But do you try to ride through this for a week or two and see where you're at by the start of December or, getting closer towards Christmas? Or do you try to make a move and see if you can get someone ready to go in a trade that could potentially work? And I don't know. That's a tough spot to be in because, Eric Tulsky did say that they're always talking. They're always trying to figure something out. They're not leaving any stone unturned because we know that's what the Hurricanes do. They're always thinking about something, trying to do something. But now it's do you make a move? And he talked about how the team needs flexibility and stuff like that. And, that's why they're trying to accumulate cap for the trade deadline. And they go with LTIR moves now and all that other stuff. That just, makes more complications. And speaking of complications, there's a lot more to talk about this because this is not just for one game. This could be for a few games. So, guys, stick around as we'll continue more about this conversation of what the Hurricanes need to do with their goaltending situation and, of course, more help that's coming along the way as well. So stick around as we'll talk about that here in a second on a Monday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Welcome back to segment 2 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. Like I said at the end of segment 1, with the complications of what the Hurricanes are in right now with Pyotr Kochetkov being out, Frederik Andersen still weeks and weeks away from coming back. And Eric Tulsi said they're trying to work on flexibility because they don't want to make a move now. Then it's like, what are you going to do later on? And I know there's some online discourse with the Corey Laviolette and a bunch of the other writers as well. And of course, fans asking questions of what's next. And it's like, you want to make a trade, but who are you going to go get? Who are you going to go get? And, is the money going to be worth it, though, too? Because you got to worry about cap space. Because Anderson's not out for the whole season. He's going to come back at some point. You're talking either probably Four Nations or on the trade deadline. When he comes back, what do you do then? Do you move extra guys down? Do you move a goalie down? Do you trade someone away? Like, there's going to be a lot of other cap complications, and that's something that the Hurricanes have to figure out because they're not totally strapped like some other teams are, but there's not enough wiggle room, I would say, for them to make something work. And what teams as of right now are willing to give away players? I know the Pittsburgh Penguins have said like pretty much all their guys are available if you want to go make a move for them. The only one that would make sense for Pittsburgh is Alex Nedeljkovic. What can you get? What can you give up to get him? I wrote an article saying probably make something work to get him back, but it's like, does Pittsburgh want to give him up? Other teams that are playing right now, unfortunately, the Chicago Wolves and Logan Brossoit, he's out still. The Canucks are not giving up Lincoln because he's been their best goaltender. The Kings are still in the hunt, so they're not going to give him any of their goaltenders. It's just you're in maybe Alex Lyon from the Detroit Red Wings, maybe Anton Forsberg from the Ottawa Senators, even if it's for like a rental. It's just who are you going to give up? And that's the thing with the Hurricanes is like they're not going to make a move just to make a move. And if Anderson comes back, what are you going to do with the extra goalie? You're going to have 3 goalies now and stuff like that. And you don't even know when Kochetkov is going to come back. So it could be maybe 2 weeks at the most he might be out. It could be longer. Who really knows? Like I said, we don't have any updates yet, but I know fans want the Hurricanes to make a move. And trust me, I do too, but at the same time, I also know where the Hurricanes are coming from and the fact that they aren't just going to go make one just to go make one. They got to make one that makes sense for the right now and in the future because, you can make a short-term move and put a Band-Aid on a wound, but down the road, it could have been something that you could have addressed a lot more to where now it's going to be a bigger problem. And that's the thing with just how the Hurricanes are. They're not going to make a move just to make something happen. This is going to be something where if they're going to make a trade, it's got to make sense for the short and long term. And, of course, with cap compliance and all that stuff too, like you've got to make sure that you fit within the cap space. And that's just one other thing they got to worry about too. And I don't know. It's a tough situation. Like I said, they do have Jan Pretz coming back up. That's someone that they can kind of look forward to in terms of helping out the situation. But now you're down to your third and fourth string goalies once again. Tokarski's doing really good in Chicago. He's got back-to-back shutouts for them, as of late. You also have Kayasev, but I don't think he's near ready to go for some AHL action. It's just an unfortunate bad time for the Hurricanes right now. And hopefully, like I said, Pyotr comes back healthy. Hopefully it's not too long and hopefully it's not serious. But right now, if you're the Hurricanes, what do? You're once again on the crossroads of a goaltending situation to where now it's you have Spencer Martin's your guy. And you got Jan Frentz as your backup. Are you usually gonna write that out until Peter gets back, or what are you gonna do? Because Anderson's still ways away. And right now, this week is going to be a gauntlet between Dallas on Monday, Rangers on Wednesday, and then you got a back-to-back home-and-home situation against the defending Stanley Cup champions and the Florida Panthers. So it'll be very interesting to see how all that works out. Now, the other good piece of news is, like I said, we got some help coming back to help the team out, and that is Seth Jarvis has been on Sunday afternoon activated from injured reserve, so we should be able to have him back for the Monday game against the Dallas Stars. Has missed a few games recently due to re-aggravating his shoulder. Hopefully he's ready to go and 100%. It'll be nice to have Seth Jarvis back on the line because you can definitely feel how different this team is without him. Yes, they've won some games, but I feel like they're not really clicking on all cylinders without having 24 in the lineup, especially on the power play, penalty kill, different side defensive face-offs on either side of the ice, even offensive too. So it's good that you're going to have your Swiss Army knife of Jarvis back in the lineup. So I think that's going to be a good boost for the offense who, while they only lost 5-4 in a shootout, that's kind of a game where you could have put the Jackets away if you were off to a good start. And just over the last few games, you could definitely tell they're kind of like they're still scoring, but it's like you can feel there's some energy that's off with the Hurricanes. So I think if you get Jarvis back, I think that's going to be a boost for them. So it'll be very interesting to see how that's going to work out. You know, we know Tyson Jost has kind of been playing on the fourth line. How's all that going to work out? Most likely you're probably going to see Willem Carrier go back to the fourth line with Drury and Blake. And you might have Seth Jarvis go to the third line. Or I know last game they had Kotkaniemi and Drury switch. Who knows how that's going to work? I mean, they're going to stay the same. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how Rod Brind'Amour plays with his lines because there wasn't a practice on Sunday, but they do have a morning skate on Monday before the game against Dallas. So morning skate's going to be an indicator of what we could potentially be looking at in terms of lines with Seth Jarvis back. Also, another bit of piece of news with all these roster moves that are going on with Perez being recalled and Seth Jarvis being active on IR. We do have word that Ty Smith is coming up as well on a recall. So now we got Ty Smith coming up with Jan Perez and, of course, with Seth Jarvis coming off of IR. Now, before we move on to our last segment of talking about the previewing the game against the Dallas Stars, a couple things we got to go over real quick. Jack Roslovic, what a great season he's having so far. He got his 12th goal against the Columbus Blue Jackets on Saturday night. And per Kane's stat brand, Roslovic is one of 3 players in the last 75 years to record at least 12 goals and 1 assist or less through the first 20 games of the season. So Alan Hayworth of the Washington Capitals had 12 goals and 1 assist back in 1986. Rick Nash of the Columbus Blue Jackets had 12 goals and assist back in 2003. And then, of course, Jack Roslovic, 12 goals and assist in 2024. So that's awesome to see for the fact that Roslovic is joining some good company in terms of that. So that's good to see overall. And then did ask for some fan questions. Did get one in, thankfully, before we started recording. This is from Charlotte Fan or CLT Clown Club. Very interesting name. With the current situation, do we look at making a move for a goalie? Kochetkov is here to stay and should be 1A, but the uncertainty with Freddie is getting out of hand. I said it earlier, I would like to see the Hurricanes make a move, but as of right now, I don't know. I would love to say yes, they were going to do something, or no, they're not going to do something. But right now, we're in a limbo. Until we get official news on how long Pyotr Kochetkov's out for, I'm not certain on what move we're going to make here. If it's going to be a week or two, maybe they're going to write it out. If this is going to be he's out for over a month, then yes, I would say you might have to make a move because you can't go over a month without having your number ones in Kochetkov or Anderson back. So If I'm Carolina, if this is a long-term, he's out for a good bit type of situation, then yes, I do think the Hurricanes have to make a move. If this is a short-term, a week or two thing, I would also not be surprised if the Hurricanes are just like, hey, we're going to stand pat and see what happens and go from there. So it's a very interesting situation overall. But, thank you for the question. Trying to do a lot more of those throughout the season goes along because it's fun to answer your guys' questions. So if I ever post that out on socials, make sure to jump on that so we can get your questions answered on the show. All right, so we caught up with the Pyotr Kochetkov situation, caught up with what's going on with Seth Jarvis coming back to the lineup, of course, with the call-ups of Peretz and Smith, and talking about the fan question, and of course, Jack Roslovic as well. We are going into previewing our game for the Carolina Hurricanes against the Dallas Stars on Monday night for Hockey Talks Night. So stick around as we'll do that here in a second on a Monday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. You go up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with a little less 4 correct picks. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Do you think Connor McDavid might get more than a half a goal next week? Or do you think Austin Matthews might have more than 2.5 shots in a game? Well, you can cook up hot takes with your friends and win real money this hockey season when you and your crew run your game on PrizePicks. Now, for me, do I think Jack Hughes might have more than 4.5 shots on goal? Or maybe Bray Kachuk might have more than a half a fight a game? Well, if you download the PrizePicks app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL, you can get $50 instantly after you win your first $5 lineup. Once again, download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. You can do that at PrizePicks, where you can run your game. Welcome back to a segment 3 of Locked On Hurricanes, your team every day. So now the Carolina Hurricanes are going to be welcoming the Dallas Stars in on Monday night for Hockey Talks, which is their mental health awareness night game, which for me, as you guys know, if you follow me on social media, I talk about it a lot. But if I haven't really mentioned it here yet, but as someone who deals with mental health, this is kind of one of those games where I kind of circle on the calendar every year because it's something that's very important to where you're trying to raise awareness for that. You take care of your body when you go to the doctors when something happens. You take care of your car, you take care of your house, but you also need to take care of your mental health as well. Especially, just life in general that goes on, or maybe, there's trauma or stress or, losing loved ones or just any type of situation. You always need to talk to someone to, help you through all that. And that's what, Hockey Talks is for the NHL. And of course, Mental Health Awareness Night. It's okay to go to therapy. I've been to therapy myself, and I would definitely recommend it if you're able to go, because it's something that I think that, we take care of everything else. We also need to take care of our brains as well. So as someone who deals with, anxiety and depression and everything else, I would definitely highly recommend going. But these are the type of nights I'm really excited for, because you are bringing awareness to something like that. So the Hurricanes on Monday night is hosting Hockey Talks against the Dallas Stars. That is a 7 p.m. puck drop, of course, on TV. It's FanDuel Sports Network South. Also on Victory Plus if you're a Dallas Stars fan. And, of course, on radio, 99.9 The Fan. Dallas Stars right now are 13-6-0. Your Carolina Hurricanes are 14-5-1. This is the first of a 2-game season series set, of course, Monday night against the Dallas Stars. And then the Hurricanes go to Dallas for an 8 p.m. start on January 21st. Now, in terms of the tales of the tape, power play wise, the Hurricanes are 7th at 24.2, where Dallas is 22nd at 16.9%. Now, the penalty kill, this is where it's going to be a very tight game between the two sides. I'm really curious to see how that's going to work out for the special teams, where the Dallas Stars are 4th at 85.7 compared to the Hurricanes at 83.1. In terms of goals for per game, Carolina sits 3rd at 3.9, while Dallas is 11th at 3.42. And then goals allowed per game, the Hurricanes sit at 4th at 2.5 goals per game, and that's after giving up 4 against the Columbus Blue Jackets. But they are facing the number one team in the NHL for goals allowed. That is 2.32 for the Dallas Stars. So you have two top 5 teams that are not giving up a lot of goals this year. So it's going to be very imperative for the Hurricanes to score early and hopefully maintain some leads, because Dallas is a very tough team, especially when you got Jake Ottinger, who right now is 11-3-0 with a 2.23 goals against and a 918 save percentage. And also, don't forget, he also has a shutout, but also he has Casey DeSmith, who, despite having a 2-3-0 record, his goals against is a 2.22, a .914 save percentage. He also has a shutout. So very similar stats. Unfortunately, DeSmith just caught a wrong end of a loss, but right now Dallas is really good goaltending from Ottinger and DeSmith. So those are the two guys to watch out for sure, depending on whoever's in net. Over the last 10 games, the Dallas Stars are 6-4-0 with back-to-back wins against the San Jose Sharks and the Tampa Bay Lightning. For your Carolina Hurricanes, they are 6-3-1 with a loss to the New Jersey Devils back last week. Then, of course, on Saturday, they lost in a shootout to the Columbus Blue Jackets. And, of course, these two games were after they had a 3-game winning streak between Ottawa, St. Louis, and Philadelphia. So I think for the first time this season, the Carolina Hurricanes have lost back-to-back games. So hopefully it's a trend that kind of turns around for your Carolina Hurricanes. Now, guys to watch out for the Stars, I mean, Matt Duchene is on an absolute world. He's on fire right now. He's Texas Pete hot for the Dallas Stars right now. 11 goals, 12 assists for 23 points. He leads the team with 11 goals. Next best is Rupe Hintz. Assist-wise, he is tied with Mason Marchment and one ahead of Logan Stade-Koven. Of course, he is a +10, with Mason Marchment being a +13 and Tyler Seguin being a +12. But then that line right there for the Stars has been absolutely killer. Marchment, 18 points in 18 games. Tyler Seguin, 16 points in 15 games and with 7 goals on that. In terms of defensemen, Travis Harley, 1 goal, 8 assists for 9 points. He's a +15 on the defensive side of things. S. Lindell's got 8 points. Mira Heiskanen, who's having a slow start to the season, is a +6, but does have 7 points. So I would never overlook Mira Heiskanen, but right now Harley and Lindell are kind of leading the way for the defense. But my goodness, that line of Duchene, Marchment, Seguin, and of course Stade-Koven's got 15 points in 19 games. Those are a lot of guys that the Hurricanes are going to have to watch out for. Now, in terms of your Carolina Hurricanes, obviously, Martin Necas is back on a point streak once again. He's up to 33 points in 20 games, 11 goals, 22 assists. He's a +8. Sebastian Aho, has scored a few goals recently, 6 goals and 19 points in 20 games. Still a -1, along with Andrei Svechnikov, who's got 17 points. Eric Robinson still +10. Jordan Martinook's a +12. But how about Jack Roslovic, as I mentioned earlier? 12 goals, 13 assists in 20 games. He sits at a +6. On the defensive side of things, of course, we know Shane Gostisbehere, 4 goals, 14 points is a +1. Dmitry Orlov, 12 points, and Jalen Chatfield, 7 points. Those guys combined are a +35 on the season, according, as Trip Tracy said it on the broadcast. Talk about an insane start for those guys, and that's technically like your second/third D pair in Orlov and Chatfield for the fact that they're combined at +35. You'll take that any day of the week if you're the Carolina Hurricanes fans and even any other team as well. Now, in terms of goaltending, like I said, Kochetkov is out. We don't know when he's going to be back. And, of course, with Frederick Anderson as well, you're going to be looking at Spencer Martin. And it's just this is going to be a test for him, I would say, because now you're once again going to be that guy. You had the shot against the Ottawa Senators. You did a good job. But right now he's sitting on the season at 1-2-0-1. Stinks the ding that he got credit with that loss in the shootout, but what can you do? He does have a 3.21 goals against and a .870 save percentage. I'm not sure how this game's going to go. You're talking about a Dallas Stars team that's playing really great hockey right now. They're on fire. You got that line of Duchene, Marchment, and Seguin that's absolutely torching right now. Luckily you got Seth Jarvis coming back. Hopefully, the rest of the team is still pretty much healthy. It's just the goaltend situation is going to put you in a tight spot. And like I said, you got 4 games in 6 days, and that's with the Rangers and the Panthers. So I don't know. Let me know in the comments. How are you feeling about the Hurricanes going into the game against Dallas? I know we're down to our third string goalie. He does have a shutout this year. Seth Jarvis is back. But you know what? Let me know in the comments. How are you feeling going into Monday night's game against the Dallas Stars? For me, as you guys know me, I'm always optimistic. So I think it's the Hurricanes are going to play their game. They're back up in front of their fans. Maybe that'll be an extra boost for the team, but we shall see. But we'll wrap up the Monday episode of Hurricanes. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. For your second listen, make sure to check out Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Become a fantasy hockey expert and get the edge over your league mates with daily tips from Steal and Flip. Find Locked On Fantasy Hockey on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to keep up with me, everything that I'm doing for the Carolina Hurricanes and doing coverage for them, you can check me out on OneShireZach on X. The podcast is LO_Hurricanes. If you're on X as well, I'm also on Blue Sky. Check me out at the Zachary Martin if you want to check me out on those side of things. I do have a link tree in both of my bios on Blue Sky and on X where you can check out all of my articles at the Hockey Writers, or just go to thehockeywriters.com. Find me on there. You can find my author page and check out all the articles that I've been doing, putting a lot out recently as there's been a lot going on for your Carolina Hurricanes. I do also have links to my other podcasts, the Surgecast, or you can just go look up the Surgecast on all podcast platforms and on YouTube. For this show, just look up Locked On Hurricanes, leave a 5-star rating or review. If you're on Apple or on Spotify, I might just read it on the show. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification so you don't miss the show. Hit the thumbs up button. Let me know if you like the show as well. And in the comments, let me know how you're feeling about the Hurricanes going up against the Dallas Stars. Share the podcast with other Caniacs so they become everydayers just like you. But I hope everyone enjoyed the Monday edition of Locked On Hurricanes. Hope everyone has a great Monday. Hopefully everyone enjoys watching the Hurricanes against the Dallas Stars. And until next time, as always, let's go Canes.